Okay. So yeah, the painting for Change Creators course is basically going to be a space for people to come together and explore their own experiences and walks of life, and how to express those journeys through paintings. So I'm going to be going through a lot of intuitive painting techniques that will basically encourage people to be more aware, um, and I'll be giving people the tools to make paintings for themselves and like practice paintings for self-care in the future for themselves, but also creating for change as well. So we'll be covering a range of different topics. So I could go over the sessions with you guys. So we've got session 1, which is intuitive painting, mindfulness and color. So with this session, I'm going to be going over a little bit of color theory, tints and shades and that kind of thing, but it's more so about having people paint from awareness and from the self and searching within to paint, basically. So I'll be guiding people on how to associate certain experiences or certain emotions or moods and that kind of thing with color, with texture, with paint strokes, with mark making, that kind of thing. So the paintings will be really abstract, but really personal to each individual. And it's really less technical and more of a fun session, really. It's less focused on like the composition of a painting and more of how the painting makes you feel and what you've like offloaded during that session and what you put into the painting. And then so session 2 is releasing through painting, which is similar to session 1, but we're going to be going a bit more into depth in terms of releasing negative energy, releasing anything really that we want to release and how we can put that into painting. So I'll be going over topics like symbolism and storytelling and teaching different techniques to encourage that line of thought and how our brains interpret certain imagery and certain colors, and how you can communicate a story in a painting without actually painting the specifics. So that's session 2. And session 3, which I'm really excited about, is honoring the self. And so this one is, it's a life art session, but it's slightly different, a lot because it's online, but also because we want to be accommodating to so many different types of people. So with this one, instead of having a life model, I'm going to be asking people to take a picture of themselves prior to the session. And this can be any kind of picture. It could be of any part of yourself, like literally just a part of you that you would like to paint, or a part of you that you're a little bit insecure about, or that you would just like to feel better about. And then we're going to be painting from those pictures, and I'm going to be teaching the basics of like figurative painting. But then there will be a section at the end where we speak life into those paintings and surround those paintings with empowering words or empowering symbols, and basically just dismantling any of our prior conceptions of those images or of those parts of our bodies. And it's basically just supposed to be a really empowering space to make people feel empowered and to, fall in love with their bodies, any bodies, like literally, so any part of your body. So yeah, I'm personally really excited about that session. And then the last session is an artivism session, and it's creating for positive change. And so in this one, we're going to be looking at storytelling again, but so for me, for example, one of the things I'm really passionate about is positive imagery and uplifting Black women in art. And you know, making sure that young women and girls are surrounded by positive imagery and have the representation that they need to live a confident life, and, you know, have, you know, they can see themselves in art and that kind of thing. So that's my artivism, but for you, it could be so many different things. So I'm going to be teaching people and showing people how I go about expressing those things, the things that I choose, the kinds of symbolisms that I choose, or that kind of thing, and how we can, again, tell stories in paintings, but like convey a powerful message. So yeah, I think I've covered all of the sessions, but yeah, that's Painting for Change Creators, a 4-week course of exploring creating for positive change and holding, you know, safe spaces, empowering spaces, and allowing people to transfer their energy into paintings and use it for themselves in the future as well, and to really see and appreciate art as a way of, as a form of self-care, and to be able to practice it for themselves as well. So yeah, I hope I've explained that well. I don't know if Liberty has anything to add.
That was a beautiful description. Yeah, I think you did great. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. And I'm curious how you got into this, and like what's your journey been to be able to offer something like this.
A lot of studying, a lot of different experiences really got me here. But I studied for 7 years, I think. So I studied fine art, I studied fine art therapy, I studied fine art psychotherapy as well, which is a lot about how we interpret imagery, which is, you know, one of the things that I'm quite passionate about. But a lot of it really comes from my personal experience in studying, and also the experiences of a lot of my peers and my family and that kind of thing. And in terms of the lack of representation in the art industries and that kind of thing is what got me here, is what got me to creating the way I do. I was just really passionate about creating art that I wanted to see on my walls, and creating art that I'd want to gift my sisters and friends and that kind of thing, and making sure that, you know, we bridge that gap in the art industry. And then just also wanting to be able to share that. And I think with art therapy, it was one of those things that had helped me so much, with, you know, various traumas. And so I knew that the art could be therapy, and that it can be used as therapy and self-care. And I just wanted to practice it for myself for a long time. And then at some point, somewhere along the line, I wanted to share that with people. And so I then just started doing like sessions with friends and stuff, where we'd get together and have, like, I don't know, girls' nights, but with painting and sharing and talking and that kind of thing. And it just developed and developed. And then I started actually teaching in different spaces, teaching a whole wide range of people. At the minute, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the Rise Collective. No? Okay, well, it's UK based, so that's understandable. But they basically work with a lot of young children from young children and young people from marginalized backgrounds who have experienced discrimination and trauma. And so they run creative workshops with these young people to ensure that they have access to support and creative support, and that they can see themselves in creative careers in the future and that kind of thing. So I've been working with them, delivering painting workshops to young people for about a year now. So yeah, this is kind of an extension of that, and I've been wanting to, you know, I've been in lockdown for a long time, so I've been wanting to kind of be able to create similar spaces online with different kinds of people. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. I tend to digress a lot, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Sharing how you got here, and
Mm,
sounds like it was very organic. It arose from your own life experience and your desires for yourself and for your loved ones.
mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing with my work is just that I just want it to resonate with someone, anyone, and I really enjoyed being able to make these paintings and bring life to people's homes and have them see themselves in the work, you know. So it's been a really beautiful journey. So I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. Does anyone have any questions for Rochelle or about the course or about her work?
Um, where does your work live? Like, do you share? Do you exhibit? Do you sell your work online? Like,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I have a website, I have Instagram, I'm on all the platforms, apart from TikTok, not yet. But yeah, no, I have social media and online presence, and obviously before lockdown, I was exhibiting and teaching in person a lot. At the minute, I've just been teaching online, and I haven't had an exhibition for about a year. But yeah, it's all online. My website is rochellecreative.co.uk, so quite simple. And then my Instagram is the same, just Rochelle Creative. So yeah.
Lovely. Any other questions for Rochelle? Thank you so much for being here and sharing with us and coming to the Creatives Play Date. And yeah, I really look forward to this course.
Mm.
Hope that anybody who has any questions will reach out to either yourself or me, and we can get them registered and have a really sweet little space um, to unfold onto the canvas.
No,
I'm just
definitely.
ready to
Thank you so
come.
much for having me. Oh, sorry.
I
What,
said, I'm just
Marisha?
ready to come.
Oh
I said,
yeah,
I'm just ready to come.
I know.
So,
It's right up your alley, Marisha.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, that's great. I'm excited to have you, and I hope you get as much from it as we intend, you know. And um, I hope this space does something for everyone that attends. I really do. So yeah.
I
Thank
just have a really quick question. Are there certain materials that
you.
are required? Like, should we bring a certain type of paint or canvas or?
Um, well, I'm going to be using acrylic paints and probably a bit of oils as well, but it's not compulsory. Pretty much if you have drawing materials or watercolors or that kind of thing, as long as you have a surface to paint on, I'm encouraging everyone to just use what they have. But I also have a painting kit available on my website if you wanted to purchase the similar materials that I'll be using. But it's not mandatory at all. Like anything you have will do.
Might use some mud from my backyard. I live in a place where there's lots of different colors in the soil, and I found this bright red, rich soil the other day. I want to just like smear it on things.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, definitely. And anything that works and that means something to you, and it will mean more because it came from your land. So
Mhm.
that's great.
Mhm.
Like I know like a regular therapy session is like, but like I don't know what an art therapy session is like. And like, I don't know, can you tell us a little bit more about the difference or?
Yeah. Well, I think the most prominent difference is that art therapy is an interactive practice, and for the most part, it's led by the participant, and it's a lot about awareness and how we interpret color, texture, that kind of thing, all things to do with art. But it can be on any medium or any art form as well, which I think a lot of people confuse with art therapy. They think it's like people going into therapy and just drawing and releasing trauma into their drawings and stuff like that. But it can be absolutely any art form. And it's mainly about using our experiences, drawing on our spirit experiences, and learning how to deal with them in a creative way, and taking that forward in whatever form it might be. It might be writing, it might be journaling, it might be poetry, it might be art, it might be painting, which for me and my main practice it has been. But it's, you know, very individual to the person. And so when you study art therapy, they'll teach you a lot of color theory, which is a lot to do with how our brains experience certain things and how we interpret certain things when we see things. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. But for say, for example, when we see a certain color, so it will be about how we interpret that color and what's actually happening in our brains when we see these colors, and how we can use that as a form of healing, or how we can transfer that into an art form. So I hope that makes sense. um, yeah, so that's art therapy. It's very interactive. It's similar to sound therapy. I'm not sure if anyone has heard of that, but there are certain sound therapies that use similar kind of methods where sounds will be used, music will be used, a lot of like white noise is used and that kind of thing. And it's about how we interpret sound, and again, how we can associate that with our feelings or past traumas, and take it forward and learn how to associate certain things with sound, and express through sound as well. Similar with art, but a bit more interactive. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
That was so interesting. I've never heard of sound therapy before. So, wow, it's like another world.
Yeah. There's honestly so many different types of therapy, and so many different avenues that people can take to heal. So it's once you get into it, it's there's a whole world of therapy options.
Wow.
Yeah.
When I was in counseling school, I was getting into art therapy. They didn't have an art therapy program. Like art therapy is its own little niche. And I've had some people be like, no, that's not art therapy. Like you can't call that art therapy unless you're a registered art therapist. I'm like, okay, I'll be respectful. But I did take a class that they called expressive arts therapy. And in that course, we did things like we used clay, and like they had us like close our eyes and form the clay with our eyes closed. And then we opened it, it was, just like a blob or, a shape. And the therapist would then start asking questions about it, and like help you to get into the image or into the figure, and like speak from the perspective of the figure, and what is that figure thinking or feeling, or where are they. And I always had very profound realizations from that space, because it's drawing on the imagination and the ability for our minds to make connections unconsciously. and to come out through these ambiguous canvases, for lack of a better word. And I just loved that. There were so many cool exercises that they had us do. We had a whole one not just on sandbox play and like arranging little figures in the sandbox, and then speaking from that, from the perspective of the different figures in the sandbox. And what else did we do? We had some other like drawing exercises that Raquel, you would love. I should definitely share some of those with you, because you can go so deep with people so fast just when you transcend that barrier of like the thinking, analyzing mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you've described it perfectly. That's one another prominent thing with art therapy is a lot of the work that we do is it's about your unconscious mind. It's about the things that you don't necessarily think about or associate certain experiences with. It's about tapping into that and drawing on those experiences, and also acknowledging how our unconscious mind plays a huge role in who we are as people and in our behaviors. And so it really helps people to learn how to understand our unconscious mind better so that we can better deal with, life. So yeah, it's amazing.
I see Marisha nodding her head.
Oh yeah, I've been familiar with art therapy for a while also. And, as far as like me being, I think I use art as therapy, but also, I took a class in my undergrad. I think it was just art therapy. And we would go to this residential center and like teach it to the kids there. So it was like a service learning type class. So I thought that was really cool because it was like, how do you use it, but then also like how do you use it with other people and with kids. And so I've always used it and worked when I've worked with kids, because it's like such a tool to use because they're so like creative. And like naturally, I mean, we're always naturally creative. I think from kids we're usually the most creative, and then as an adult we get less creative with time because we don't practice it as much. But it's so important to like instill in young people to continue being creative, because like that's how we get out of like being stuck, when we can create something new and creating things that honor ourselves. I love that you're doing that as part of your course, like honoring ourselves through art, because it's like you can honor so many things through your art. I do a lot of nature art, so I do a lot of like honoring the different animals that I meet, or the different trees that I meet, or putting in my just that kind of, what can you honor with your images and the things that you create. And I thought of an activity we did in one of my classes. It was like it was a respectful thing, like all the letters of respect had a word, and it was like religion, ethnicity, social environment, perspective. I don't know, I'm making these up probably as I go. It was a long time ago. But then you could choose one of these things and then like add your own experience to it. Like how would you represent your religious views, or how would you represent your ethnicity, and all these things that are so personal to each other. And then we like shared it, and it was cool, a way of sharing and about yourself and being respectful of each other and our differences. So
Oh, I love that.
yeah, so that was really cool. But yeah, so I'm all about it. I love it.
And Marisha, you recently taught a course, a painting course on using symbolism in using symbols. Yeah.
Yes, I'm all about creative expressions. So I created a painting and then I taught people how to paint it, but using different symbolisms of like using fire as like, like burning away things that we want to let go of. And then like, what do you want to let go of? And we did like a little journaling prompt afterwards. And but actually the painting was a fire and like a piece of paper over it. And then we did the little piece of paper, like, what are you letting go of? What are you throwing into the fire? And yeah, it was just a cool little take on how can I teach something simple, but then also taking it a little deeper. So
Mm,
yeah,
that sounds incredible.
yeah,
I wish I was there.
yeah. I'm gonna do more. I'm like, I really enjoyed it, and I want to do it for like youth and like their parents or like just people who want to come, like community also. But I really want to get kids involved because my little sister was there. I have a little sister, she's 9. So she was there, my mom was there. So like I really want to make it like intergenerational.
Mm,
Bring your nieces and nephews, like let's all do it together because we need each other, all ages, all ages. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking in respect to this space, the Creatives Play Date, I'm like, what if we made this more of an intergenerational space? Because like we
Good.
can all learn from each other in different and I just knew, like I know Andrea, who's in the Canva course, has a adolescent daughter, and Raquel, you have young people in your life. Marisha, you have a little sister, and it just it's such a rare space to have, like
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you I don't know, maybe it's just for me in the pandemic time when it's like I don't have a community center to go to, and like
Mm-hmm.
I went to gone to protests or whatever, and those are, I guess, are intergenerational, but also high risk. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it'd be really, really nice to have a creative space where, like Marisha, when you invited me to that tea date with your family, it was just so sweet to just get to, shoot the shit and drink some
Mm-hmm.
tea and connect and learn from each other across those different experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Good. Well, again, thank you so much for being here and sharing. And I can't wait. We get started in 4 weeks from now.
yeah.
That's what it is. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. In 4 Saturdays from today.
Yeah.
So we'll see you there.